We're at the superintendent update. Dr. Swift.
Thank you, President Lazarus and trustees, members of the community who are joining us in person and virtually. We're delighted to be in March and welcome a robust March is Reading Month to Ann Arbor Public Schools. Our elementary and K-8 schools are busy with activities that they've launched, and it's just a wonderful time to see students stretching themselves. Of course, we do it all year round, but March is a great reading celebration month. This month, one of the activities is one I think perhaps some of us adults could benefit from, called Genre Bingo, with the challenge to widen their reading experience to include books from across a variety of genres. This in lieu of in-person visits to our Ann Arbor District Library. We're so delighted that our partners at AADL have delivered kits to all AAPS second grade classrooms to ensure that every child has an opportunity to register for an AADL library card. I wanted to touch on our student and family activities and volunteers across our AAPS schools. We are increasing in-school activities for our students and families, including enrichment opportunities both during the day and after school. So activities such as Science Olympiad, Girl Scouts, and others are currently being scheduled across our campuses. Parents are volunteering in the reserving space according to our protocol through the Rec and Ed team for after-school Science Olympiad and other practices and activities. We really appreciate the involvement and engagement of our parents at school, and this is a big part of the excellence in our Ann Arbor Public Schools, and principals are prioritizing volunteers and working together to enhance and extend opportunities. I wanted to also touch on spring transition coming up on May 5th. And you recall, trustees, this is the day that every rising 6th grader and rising 9th graders look forward to, where they get to rise up and go on transition to their next potential campus. So our school and district leaders are engaged right now in planning for a full-scale in-person transition day. And also they're organizing their spring field trips, and more details will be shared. You'll hear those directly from your school principal so you get the exact information you need. We are moving forward with opening activities for students and parents, and we will share those updates week by week, as we always do. I wanted to give an update on the Freeman Environmental Education Center. The Environmental Ed team, along with Rec and Ed, are currently developing in-person summer environmental ed programming out at Freeman. They have done this in prior summers, and we're excited to see what they'll debut for summer of 2022. The teams are working in collaboration with Physical Properties. Mr. Emile, Lauzzana, Mr. Bernard Rice are working alongside them to update the outdoor learning environment. You remember, trustees, 40 acres up at the Freeman Environmental Center. Half of those are wooded and half of those acres are grasslands. It makes for a wonderful place to conduct a great deal of our environmental exploration activities in the district. I wanted to give an update on masking. I know it's a topic that we heard quite a bit about during public commentary. We will continue with universal masking in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. We are delighted to see our cases decline among students and staff. We are aware of the adjustments to the guidance that have been shared by the CDC and the MDHHS regarding masking in schools. Just last week, trustees, you're aware that we received more detailed guidance from Washtenaw County Health Department, particularly around our work with medically fragile and vulnerable students, as well as direction on appropriate steps to take during a rise in cases, outbreaks, or other specific situations. In addition, I had the opportunity to sit together in a briefing with Dr. Miguel Cardona, the U.S. Secretary of Education, and Mary Wall, White House Senior Ed Advisor, and a member of the White House COVID response team last Thursday. They were detailing the additional considerations, which are certainly on our minds as well, highlighting the importance of considering our vulnerable students, staff, and families, including our preschool students who cannot yet be vaccinated. So we will be considering those things as we consider our steps for moving forward over the coming weeks of spring. We understand that preferences may differ widely. We understand the priority that matters most, and that those priorities are health and safety and sustaining critical in-school learning, restoring activities for our students and staff. Our focus remains on preserving in-school learning and making sure that we can fully staff our teams every day at our schools. So our next steps are that we will continue to open more opportunities and activities for students and staff while continuing to monitor the case numbers in the district. We are looking to see a sustained decline in cases despite opening up more and more opportunities for students and staff. The masking strategy has served as a layer of support throughout this year. We will consider and continue to take a very balanced and cautious approach. Trustees, I wanted to share also a transportation update. I appreciate Ms. Jill Minnick, Ms. Liz Margolis are both here with us this evening. They've been doing quite a lot of work with our Durham transportation team. The team continues their work to restore our staffing levels for full transportation in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. We are not quite there yet. Beginning this next week, trustees, we will be serving 92 of 97 routes, so that's about 95%. Of course, for us, that's not good enough. We are diligently focused on achieving that 100% restoration of all of our bus routes. So beginning next Monday, we will restore the 7 routes that have been suspended over the prior 3 weeks. So I just want to give a shout out in our deep gratitude for the sacrifices of our parents and students and staff and all the extra efforts of everyone pitching in to help navigate these transportation challenges that we have faced this year. I've been particularly inspired by PTO Council's effort to take snacks and appreciation goodies to the bus drivers. Many of our drivers are working extra to make sure that routes get covered, and we just really appreciate that effort. Unfortunately, trustees, we will have 4 routes out of 97 that will need to be suspended over the coming 3 weeks. And this will begin on Monday, and we'll be sending out detailed information to be communicated directly with parents this week. We are anticipating, based on the number of drivers that we have scheduled to come into service, our efforts at recruitment have been effective, not as quickly as we wanted it to happen, but it is happening. We are anticipating a full restoration of routes beginning on Monday, April 11th. So that will be the Monday following the return from spring break. The transportation team is also currently processing spring field trip requests from schools. So that's a really exciting component as well. The Durham customer service line is now staffed in dispatch as we promised, 6:30 to 10 in the morning, and 2:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon. The staff member also carries that cell phone and is connected to the dispatch line so that parents will reach a live team member to respond to real-time transportation questions and needs. We will continue to provide updates on our progress as we continue this diligent work on transportation. Trustees, I wanted to share an update on our Afghan refugees resettlement plan in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. I shared just a little taste of this about a week ago, and tonight I'm bringing a little more context to the information. Between 2020 and 2022, the Ann Arbor Public Schools has welcomed 39 students who are family members and Afghan refugees. 23 of those students enrolled last year during 2021, and 16 have enrolled during this year so far. We anticipate more students and families by the end of this school year. Our partners at Jewish Family Services will continue to update us on the exact numbers of families. At this time, it looks like there are an additional 30 families that are anticipated to arrive in Washtenaw County by the beginning of the school year, August 2022. It is important to note that AAPS is the desired location, and many families wait for housing to be available in our district so that they can begin their students, their children here in our schools, and we are delighted and honored to welcome them. Of our 39 Afghan refugees, just to give you an idea, they are resettled into 16 of our AAPS campuses. At high school, the 9 students who've come at high school level are all considered students with limited and or interrupted formal education. That's called S-Life, is the name of it, that classification. Middle school, we have 8 students also having had their formal education interrupted. And then elementary, 21 students, and they run across the spectrum of the level of disruption to their education. And then we have 1 student at preschool. It is such a delight to have the Afghan refugees. I want to thank the community for their overwhelming response. I included it in the superintendent update. And trustees, I haven't had a chance to tell you, but the Jewish Federation folks reached out to us and said that our community overwhelmed them with the response, and they needed to adjust some of the ways that they were offering for us to support. So thanks to our community once again rallying to support community members. Wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Lauzzana, who recently presented at U.S. Green Building Council. Mr. Lauzzana, who's here with us tonight, Executive Director of Capital Programs, was a panelist for a Lead and Water webinar hosted by the U.S. Green Building Council. Other panelists included the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the state of Massachusetts, environmental health experts, and Boston Public Schools. The 100 attendees were primarily school district leaders from across the country who manage water quality issues for their districts. Panelists and attendees noted the patchwork and or lack of regulations across the country and between states as a significant challenge. Secondly, financial challenges and the issue of unfunded mandates were also discussed. I just want to give a call out. We appreciate the state leadership of President Lazarus on this effort, and our entire board has supported this work over time. The Healthy Water Initiative for Michigan schools to ensure improved clarity on our guidance and funding to support these efforts. We're proud of our Ann Arbor Public Schools work in this key and critical student health area. It's my great honor today to recognize our Ann Arbor Public Schools social workers. We appreciate the opportunity every March, and particularly now, to recognize and celebrate our school social workers. The theme for this year is Time to Shine. School social workers shine brightly for their students, families, and school communities, shining hope, shining understanding, shining respect. We are grateful for the shining light that school social workers provide in their vital role to help students meet their academic, social, and emotional challenges they encounter on the road to becoming successful and productive young adults. I tell you, trustees, every school I'm in, every team I'm around, we have among the best social workers in Ann Arbor Public Schools that I've ever seen in my entire career. I am so grateful, and I know we join together with our students, staff, families to celebrate our school social workers for shining hope, understanding, and respect in their work every day right here in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. We honor our social workers for the guidance, expertise, and professional care they continue to provide for our students and our communities. Thank you, social workers. Well, trustees, we're rounding the corner of this school year headed to spring, and we are working together and making progress on behalf of our students, their quality learning, growth, and enrichment experiences this year. I just appreciate our teachers and support staff, building leaders, and our parents and families, and this Board of Education for all your support of our Ann Arbor Public Schools. That is my superintendent's report. I'm pleased to take questions or not, as the trustees prefer. Thank you.